It is truly time to wake up to what is actually happening. And I'm going to do the best I can on my channel to make this as simple as possible. We're going to have a deep conversation around stablecoins. So if you're wanting to get into these markets and you're wanting to understand what is actually happening, macro and microeconomic, if you're someone who's worried about your wealth and the debasement of your currency, you need to subscribe to my channel and listen every single day. I spend hours and I've devoted my life to understanding psychological patterns in regards to finances, historical patterns in regards to finances. And I've set up my strategy based on how the system actually works. Not the 60-40 split, 60% stocks, 40% bonds. Guys, if you don't understand how to beat inflation, you think that you're doing well for retirement and you're not even keeping pace. You're just treading water. So if you don't think that your currency is going to continue to get devalued, I got a bridge I want to sell you in Arizona. Does that even make sense? A bridge I want to sell you in Arizona? Beachfront property I want to sell you in Arizona. That was pretty funny. That was a good one. Anyways, but so that's what I want to share with you guys. I'm here to, no hype, no bullshit. Okay. I'm going to share with you guys what is happening. You need to understand what is happening with the stablecoin market. And that's what we're going to break down today. I'm going to break down stablecoins. Okay. I'm going to break down economically what is happening around the world. The printing machines are turning on full blast. Your currency is about to get debased dramatically. Okay. Since 1971, or specifically 1913, your dollar has lost 96 to 97% of its value. So today we're going to go over understanding of stable coins. I'm going to explain that at a very simplistic level. Okay. I'm going to share with you how I'm beating inflation. And I'm going to share with you the why I'm doing this. Okay. So on the back end of every video, I share with you my exact portfolio, exactly what I'm doing. We're not gatekeeping at all on this channel. Okay. So let's dive right in and make sure you hit the like, subscribe button. We're bringing this content every single day. Here we go. Let's get this on the screen. Obviously, you can tell I don't edit my videos. This is raw and authentic. All right, let's get after it. So here's our current situation. I would follow these guys, the Kobesi Letter. They're fantastic, man. Their stuff is really, really good. They put out some good content. Here's our current situation. Okay. My parents went away on a 5-day week. I'm in a great mood today. The U.S. is preparing $2,000 stimulus checks. Okay. We got Japan is preparing a 110 billion stimulus package. China has approved a 1.4 trillion stimulus package. The Fed is officially ending quantitative easing on December 1st. That means that they're stopping quantitative tightening and they're going to release the floodgates printing. The US is issuing 1.9 trillion in treasuries per year. Canada is restarting its quantitative easing program. Do you see a trend here? They're going to start to make this money machine burr. This is a global thing happening, guys. There's a global financial reset happening. Global M2 money supply is at a record 137 trillion. Global rate cuts are 320 plus over the past 24 months. So what does this mean simplistically? Is they're about to drop rates as low as humanly possible. And they're going to turn this printing machine on full blast. And those holding the fiat, the fake currency, are going to see the devaluation of their dollar. But the trick is, you see $1 million in your bank account, you see $1 million. I see your currency getting worth less, worth less, worth less. That's why I created my capital DR. I'm crushing inflation. You have to position yourself over the next 3 years to make sure you're on the right side of this token, no pun intended, or coin, to make sure that your family in the future survives this. Okay, now check this out. We're going to go into stable coins. Okay, now let me explain what a stable coin is. So it's not an investment. A stable coin is where you would store your money. So let's think of it this way. So WFI, World Liberty Financial, has its own DeFi bank, which the governance right now is the utility. They haven't launched their lending and all that type of stuff, but you have WFI as a token. Okay, that's the investment in WFI. Okay, holding the token. Then you have USD1, which is the stable coin. The reasons why it's called a stable coin is when you store your dollars in it or your currency in it, it's stable 1-to-1. It's guaranteed to be 1-to-1 to the dollar. How do they do that? This is key. This is what I want to educate you on. They do it through US treasuries. Trump trumped everybody. Okay, this is where the narrative is going to come in. He came into an economy that was blasted in inflation. The US is at 120% debt to income ratio. The bond market inverted, then it re-inverted. People weren't showing up to the bond auctions. Okay. 30% of our debt is held outside the United States. Most of it's by Japan and China, and they could just start dumping treasuries on us. And remember when the Russian parliament came out and said, Trump is going to suck all the debt up into stablecoins and cryptocurrency? He said, Trump trumped everybody. What he did was, is he came into office and he ran as the Bitcoin president, the crypto capital of the world. They created World Liberty Financial, his family. Okay. They created a stable coin, which uses US treasuries. He wrote, they wrote the Genius Act, which is stable coin regulation, guys. Remember, stable coins use what? Treasuries, short-term treasuries. Scott Bessent's like, hell yeah, let's get these stable coins rolling. Tether is the largest stable coin in the world. 90% of the stablecoin market. All of a sudden, Bo Hines steps down, heads off to Tether, and brings it into USAT. So now we have 90% of the stablecoin market is held by Tether. Now we have USAT, which I'm going to show you in just a moment what this means. Now, what I'm going to share with you what this means. They're dismantling the central bank, guys. You and I can go peer-to-peer with the stablecoin. Okay. We now have USD1, Trump's stablecoin, World Liberty Financial stablecoin. Okay, which is the fastest growing stablecoin in 2025. 60 Minutes, I showed you guys yesterday. Watch the video on my channel where 60 Minutes is doing a hit piece on WFI. Remember, SEC sued Ripple. I really believe WFI. It's, and I'll explain you my portfolio in just a moment. Okay, so ARK investments. So do we got that? So stable coins are what is the new monetary system. Okay, it's going to be on an even playing field monetarily. Trump told us that 7 years ago. He's worried about the debase. They're going to suck all of the currencies into stable coins. Every bank is going to have a stable coin. It's going to be on an even playing field. I don't believe there'll be one dominant currency. It will be a bag of currencies and it'll be regulated globally. World Liberty Financial. A world bank. No borders. Everybody has access to it. You're going to own nothing and be happy. One world economy. Guys, this is real. This is really actually happening because I can transact with you guys on a stablecoin outside the central bank. So ARK Investment, one of my favorite investors, Kathy Woods, stablecoins could become one of the U.S. government's most resilient financial allies. She nailed it. Bo Hines, remember, he stepped down as the executive director for digital assets. Boom, took off, went to Tether, brought it into America. The next generation of payments is coming soon. USAT. He's the CEO of USAT. Take your checkout to the next level. Pay instantly with digital cash. No waiting, no hassle, pure freedom, peer to peer. Okay. USD1, Tether, USDC, Ripple stablecoin, RLUSD does not run through a central bank. It's peer to peer, guys. Can you see what I'm seeing here? I'd love to hear your commentary down below. Do you see what they're doing? Jerome Powell is going to be, his tenure is up. They're interviewing for the new Fed chair. I think, I'd love to put this on a recorded video, is that they're going to move the Federal Reserve underneath the government. It's not federal, nor is it reserve. Okay. They're tariffing other countries now. Okay. Think about what happened in 1913. Before 1913, we tariffed other countries. We had low income tax. Okay. The money was in the people's pockets. After 1913, the Federal Reserve was created. They created a debt-based society. We became the monetary debt slaves. Okay. That's why a 50-year mortgage, that's not good for you. It's good for the bank. But after 1913, okay, we started pushing everything. So we started, everything started going out. They stopped tariffing other countries. They started taxing us. And after 1971, they detached from the gold standard, making your money fake, fiat, right? And now we've caught the ball. So Trump is reversing this, tariffing other countries, lowering taxes, right? Dismantling the central bank, okay? Creating stable coin regulation so that we can operate peer-to-peer. Here's the thing, is we can operate peer-to-peer. We don't have to use the central bank. That's why I'm going pretty heavy in WFI because I believe in the future of decentralized finance. I love it. I was at my my bank, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but I was at my bank. I was sending a wire for a business deal, and the banker was like, hey, I see on your account, whatever, I came from the bank. I came from this actual bank too. It's like, would you like to meet with our financial advisor? I was like, no, thanks. I manage my own wealth. And I didn't mean it disrespectful. I was like, no, thanks. I'm like, what's this financial advisor going to do for me? Put me in a 60-40 split, 60% stocks, 40% bonds. I'm like, they can't even, and I didn't say any of this, but I'm thinking in my head, you can't even beat inflation, man. And the bankers doing the best they can with the resources they have, but it's important. This is what I'm here to do. I'm not here to manage people's money. I'm here to teach people how to manage their own money. Okay. I'm on one today, guys. Okay. So Circle quarterly profits beats estimates on stablecoin growth. So you're going to continue to see stablecoin. Now remember, a stablecoin, okay, a stablecoin is not an investment. A stablecoin is where you're going to store so for example, say you profit heavily in XRP, right? And you pull profits, you can store it in a stablecoin. It's guaranteed to be one-to-one because I think 60% of it is US Treasuries. So Trump trumped everybody. They're using stable coins to balance out the US economy. They're going to use Bitcoin. Trust me, this is exactly what's going to happen. They're going to use Bitcoin to shrink the balance sheet. They're going to buy Bitcoin in a budget neutral way. I believe what Cynthia Loomis said. I think they're going to revalue gold and they're going to take an accounting measure. They're going to move it over and buy more Bitcoin. They want to buy 1 million Bitcoin, 5%, that'd be 1% of supply or 5%, 1%. 1 million Bitcoin would be 5% of supply, I think. They want to buy 1 million Bitcoin. Think about that. If that asset appreciates 50% every single year, eventually about 30%, over the next 40 years, you have an asset that continues to grow on the balance sheet. You have a sovereign wealth fund, put money back in the people's pockets, right? But here's the thing you need to pay attention to, guys. Around the world, they're lowering interest rates. They're going to print money and make your money worthless. At some point, there's going to be a winner and loser. There's going to be a winner and loser. Okay. So if you want to in person learn about my Capital DR strategy, the Freedom Conference is live. It's already selling out, guys. So if you want to get tickets, get your tickets now. I think the VIP is pretty close to selling out, but this is the Freedom Conference. This is our Freedom Conference that happens every year here in Mesa, Arizona. You get to hang out with me live and our beautiful team here. We got Gonzo, we got May, we got Coach JV. We got Jeremy, my CFO. We got Jackie and Johnny Crypto. We are the speakers. We are the lineup. It's February 7th. Okay. It is here in my headquarters. You get to see the studio, the headquarters. And let me break down what we are talking about here. Okay. So we are breaking down the amazing Capital DR strategy. We'll be breaking down our cash flow strategies, our appreciation strategies, how we get into deflationary assets that beat inflation, protection. How do we use life insurance properly? How do we use them as family banks? Leverage, crypto, and insurance, teaching people how to use leverage responsibly, and de-risk to beat the hurdle rate. Okay, we got the VIP experience. You can sign up for that. I'm one of the main speakers here, and we'll be rocking and rolling with this. So check this out. It's in the description of my YouTube channel down below or in my social media platform. Click the link. It is going to be an absolute amazing event. So here's the tickets right here. You can get your general admission. You have your VIP experience. We're going to be having a dinner with me, a private dinner where I'm going to be going deep into my actual strategy, showing you my portfolio. And then you can do live stream as well for only $199. You can get your live stream tickets. So get your tickets now. It is live, ready to go. If you're wanting to come in person, I would get your tickets locked in ASAP. This event sells out every single year for us. Okay. So as I promised you, I'm going to share with you exactly what I do. No gatekeeping. It's not financial advice. I'm going to be brutally authentic with you guys. I'm going to share with you guys how I did this. Okay. When I lost everything again in 2020, it really pissed me off. Okay. I did everything I was supposed to do. Okay. I left corporate America. I was a banker. I was a VP at a bank, had a 401k. Okay. I had savings. I had all the stuff you did. And I went to be an entrepreneur and I got crushed. Okay. I've been at this since 2017. We have 6 companies now. It took me a long time. I failed 5 times. Okay. I never gave up. Cashed out my 401k, cashed out my savings, built the first ecosystem. American dream. We finally made it, right? But based on Robert Kiyosaki's book, I was stuck in the wrong side of the quadrant. I didn't leave a job. I actually bought an expensive job. I went to be an entrepreneur and I was working inside the business. So number one rule is always scale. I scaled myself out and up, right? What happened is before COVID or going into COVID, I actually was inside the business and I had investments, vertical strategy. Okay. So I thought crypto was going to be my savior. I was listening to all the riddlers, when I got into XRP, that it was going to 589 in 2020, all these dates and, hopium and all that stuff. And all of a sudden, I was like, I started with 3,000 in crypto, and I'm going to be very transparent with you guys how this worked out. By the time the pandemic hit, I had $30,000 in crypto, and we were doing well. I was like, oh, 30 grand in crypto. Mind you, I cashed out my 401k. I got started all over at 43 years old to build the business. So now I'm like, crypto's my savior. It's gonna, it's gonna go to these XYZ prices, and by the end of 2020, because of the bull run, I'm gonna be super wealthy, right? That's not how it works. So they come and shut our business down. Boom, our Warrior Academy next door has a gym in it. So they completely locked our doors, lost everything. Okay. That pissed me off. So here I am, a man at 43 years old, 43 years old. I can't feed my family. And many people went through this, but what triggered and what was different in me is it triggered something in me. I said, this will never, listen to me, this will never, and some men, you need to hear this, will ever happen to my family again. No man, no woman will ever come into my business and take away my ability to take care of my family. And I locked in and I started studying everything I could around wealth. I'd already studied Jekyll Island, the creature of Jekyll Island. I already studied Think and Grow. I had all the mindset stuff down, the money mindset, manifestation, all that stuff, Think and Grow Rich. But I needed to know how money actually worked. So I started studying cash flow quadrant, the richest man in Babylon, the wisdom of King Solomon in the Bible. And I started to realize that the wealthy operate in a completely different paradigm. Number one is they're not vertical. They're not waiting for saviors. They buy good companies at a fair price and they hold the line. They have diversification, they create cash flow, and they work to beat the hurdle rate. So I created what's called Capel DR. Now I framed it Capel DR over the last year, but it's what I created. I started creating cash flow with my profits from crypto. So I lost everything. They shut down our business. I had 30,000. I didn't touch it. Okay. I'm very transparent. I moved back in with my parents. I said, give me 1 year. So when they opened the business back up, I immediately started to scale my business. When I gained profits, this is how I created Capital DR. In crypto, everybody was waiting for it to hit the top. I pulled profits on the way up. I took profits and I scaled my businesses, creating cash flow. So C is cash flow. You need cash flow. Income and cash flow are different. So I created cash flow, but when my cash flow came in, I did what? I bought more assets. So as everybody came collapsing down, I had pulled profits. And when it came collapsing down, I bought more assets. So that stacked A. Okay. Throughout that process, I started to create more cash flow. I created multiple companies. Now, the thing is that I thought that that's what you have to do, create a bunch of companies. That's what I'm good at. But then I started to discover cash generating dividends, Warren Buffett style. So then I started creating. So my income came in. I buy assets every single day, every single week. I dollar cost average. Okay. Deflationary assets that have fixed supply. And I'll go over my exact assets. Okay. Every single time I get paid, I buy cash flow, other people's companies, dividend stocks. So now I have two sources of income coming in. Income from my businesses. I have 3 that are in cash flow right now. So 3 businesses are paying me every single week. Then I have now dividends paying me every single week. So now I created my income, richest man in Babylon, went into savings, created a brother or sister, and then it goes into assets. I buy assets. I don't care what you buy. I buy things that beat inflation. Okay. Inflation was 24% from 2020 to 2024. So you think your investments are doing well. Your financial advisor like made you 6%. Like you're not even beating inflation. You're literally treading water. Okay. So I'm like, screw that. I need to beat inflation. So I put it into deflationary assets that have fixed supply. Bitcoin, 21 million, XRP, 100 billion, but it's deflationary because of its utility. So I started stuffing my cash, excess cash outside of debts and non-negotiables and stored it in Bitcoin and XRP. And that worked really well for me. And then P, protection. When I profit, I insure my money. Nobody can touch it legally. It has permanent life insurance, and we use them as family banks. This is the thing why life insurance gets a bad rap, is because agents don't know how to set these up properly. They're not even using them themselves probably. They're not setting them up properly. They're not funding them properly, and they're not structuring them properly. They're focused on their commission. Okay. These are cash value life insurance. They are not supercharged retirement policies. They're selling them as retirement policies. They are not retirement policies. They're life insurance policies with permanent life insurance. They need cash in them to work. They need to be funded properly and they need to be structured properly. And your agent should be following up with you every 12 months to reallocate and look at your policies to make sure that you're doing good, right? But we use L, which is capital DR. L, I leverage. Okay. Most people use leverage to become poor. We use leverage to become wealthier. We only leverage against assets if we can bring it back into the ecosystem, make more cash flow by appreciating assets that can pay off the leverage. There's no liquidation risk on insurance. There is liquidation risk on crypto. Okay. My rule in cryptocurrency with my Bitcoin, I will never, ever, ever, listen to me, leverage 25% or more of my overall portfolio ever. 10, 2025 should have taught you, do not leverage your crypto. Don't do it. We have zero leverage on our digital assets right now. I already paid off the leverage. I bought a insurance firm. It paid it off already as quick as possible. I would not leverage my crypto, guys. I would not borrow from a credit card to buy crypto. Look what happened to you on 10. Don't trust me on this. And then DR is de-risk, de-risk, de-risk. I have high risk, high return dividends. I de-risk out every single week. No lifestyle creep. I de-risk out, and guess what? I buy more XRP and Bitcoin. Okay. When my assets go up, we're never selling Bitcoin. When they go up, I de-risk out, guys. I pull profits. I'm not, everybody's freaked out about capital gains. I do everything I can to mitigate as many taxes as I can. There's a lot of great ways. There's, tax deferment, tax liabilities. You can get into oil wells. There's all kinds of things you can do, right? So I do all the things that I can do. But the reason why I'm okay pulling profits is because I'm crushing inflation. I stuff money into my life insurance policies. I stuff more money into dividends, and I create more cash flow. I create more cash flow, then I buy more assets. And so when you're running from the market, I'm buying. And when you're trying to get rich quick, I'm selling. So these are simple, disciplined, consistent strategies. So here's my exact portfolio. Okay. XRP is my number one by a long shot, company and personally. Bitcoin's number two. Okay. Solana's number three. WFI shot into number four. WLFI. Okay. That would be my most speculative investment. But if I was a betting man, I'm going to bet that WFI is going to do very well. Not saying you have to do it. That would be my most speculative investment. Okay. Because the DeFi platform is not launched yet. The only utility would be the governance, right? But I believe the person writing the rules is probably going to do pretty good with the bank. Okay. XLM, HBAR, and VeChain. Those two just got mixed up. But those are my top six. I have many others. Like people are asking, I have Algorand, I have ADA, I have all these other ones, but I'm really going to start maturing my portfolio. And it's probably going to look like this by 2030 for me. XRP, Bitcoin, WFI, Solana. Those will be my top 4. Okay. XLM will be in there as well, but I'm talking about the top chunk. There's a big, that's really consolidated. Okay. And then I just started getting to American Bitcoin on the stock side, and then I have cash generating dividends. And the reason why I don't talk openly about my dividend strategy in regards to the exact ones I'm in, because they're high risk, high return. And if you don't know how to de-risk, you're going to get wrecked. So these people talking about dividend strategies that aren't teaching people about NAV erosion, net asset value, if they're not de-risking out, and I see a lot of people promoting these high risk dividends, and people are doing lifestyle plays, you're going to get screwed, guys. You have to understand. I look at them as an entrepreneur, right? If I was to buy a landscaping company and put $100,000 into a landscaping company, okay, when I buy the equipment, is it going to go up or go down every time I get more customers? It's going to go down. The NAV is going to erode, right? So when I'm making money as I add more customers, my equipment is going down, my net asset value, but I'm extracting the high return, banking that I'm going to make it long enough to get into free cash flow. So my NAV is going down. I'm de-risking back into assets, Bitcoin, XRP. It could be an insurance, right? And so I'm actually creating a model where I'm extracting out. If I make it 14 months at 70%, I'm house money now, and I'm already house money on my dividends. So now all the income coming in, not all, because there's fresh powder coming in, but the first investment is already house money, right? So I'm getting house money, just free cash flow coming in. And then I can build out dividend strategies that are medium risk, that are low risk. We have, one of our warriors built one out that they retired off of dividends, right? People live off of dividend stocks. That's true passive income. And so people are like, why don't you post the exact dividends you're in? Because it's irresponsible. Because if you don't de-risk, people are rushing into these things. And I only put 10% of my overall portfolio in these dividends, and 10% of my income goes in there. But guys, that's why I de-risk. Anytime I make profits, I de-risk out, guys, into insurance and things that are going to be here forever. Okay. So I hope that information reaches your heart well. Yeah, that's what I teach, guys. That's my strategy. It's very, I'm very open and honest about it. My superpower is discipline and consistency. That's how you win. There is no magic pill. There is no hopium. There's no hype, right? It doesn't work. It doesn't work. So get disciplined, get consistent. I love you guys. If you need any resources, description of this video has all of our resources. You can go to the free section of my YouTube, 32 War Academy. There's a whole free education section where I break everything down. But if you need more support or you want to learn from our coaches and the Capital DR strategies, you can join our ecosystem. We do not invest people's money. Stop responding to people on WhatsApp, Telegram. We do not invest people's money. Okay. Never, ever, ever, ever send anybody money pretending to be us. Do not send anybody your crypto. We are educators. Okay. We do not invest people's money. I love you guys. I appreciate you. As we always say, warriors, rise. Get your shit together. God bless you.